You are in the C Space Studio here at CES 2024. I am James Kotecki, joined by our friend and returning guest. We said this is your third time, we believe.
Third year.
Here on the C Space Studio, Lizzie Widhelm, SVP Marketing, SiriusXM Media. Welcome back and thank you again for joining us.
It's so good to see you.
It's great to make this a little annual tradition.
So, are there any other guests that have had 3 years?
Yes, but you're our favorite, I'm going to
I like
say.
that. I like that.
But as we like to do, let's kind of start by defining where the brand's at. As we begin this year, 2024, SiriusXM Media, how are you defining it right now?
Well, we're having a big year. SiriusXM just launched its new app in December, and so we're really excited about the future of this app. You know, last time I was here, I was talking about SiriusXM and Pandora and SoundCloud and all these great brands that are a part of this ecosystem of audio that we connect with customers every single day on. But what we didn't talk about is just how much work we had planned to sort of update a lot of the feature sets and a lot of the ways in which we interact with customers. And so right here today, we're like a month into this new app. It's going really well. I'll share a funny quote. We had a GQ writer who just happened to get a new car over the holidays, and he said, "This is the app I never knew I needed."
Ooh.
Like that's like the
what a quote.
best endorsement for someone saying like, "I thought I knew what SiriusXM was, but wow."
So you're hyping it up. So tell me, what is it about this app that makes it so great?
Well, twofold. So one is that the underlying technology is completely updated. So when we're here talking about the future of in-car, the future of mobility, and everything we want to do around personalization, it's an entirely new tooled app, ground up. So that's really exciting for all of the technology nerds out there, and you can understand by doing that how we can prepare for all of the new devices, whether it's a car, whether it's a phone, whether it's an in-home device, and the mobility that a audio customer wants from their audio content partner. So that's first and foremost. And then it's really about just all of the new content in the app. I mean, take sports for example, you'd have to have 5 other subscriptions just to get all the sports that we're offering in the app. All of the new podcast content, all these new creators that we've signed. So it's just completely refreshed, driving a younger audience, so it's exciting.
So you're all about this audio content. Do you feel like you're competing in a world where streaming video services would love to fill every second of everyone's day with streaming video, or do you feel like you're complementary in certain spaces? How do you think about that philosophically?
Well, I think as we think about how humans interact in the world, that audio plays a much stronger role in terms of being a companion for the times of day. So it's portable. It's much more portable, right? You can cook and listen. You can run and listen. You can work and listen, whether it's your favorite podcast, whether it's your favorite, team. And so do we compete for time spent? Of course, we're all competing for attention and time spent. But do I think that audio is a more powerful, and guess what? It is driving more time spent with customers than any other format out there. I wonder, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, please.
Do you care if I ask you a question?
Let's do it.
Okay.
You've earned the right to turn the table.
Thank you. How many hours a day do you think the average American spends with audio?
3.
Over 4.
Wow.
Like 4 hours and 30 minutes on average.
And I only guessed high because you were asking the question.
Right, and so that's a huge number, right? And so it is a companion. There's no way you're sitting down static, just sort of lean back doing that.
And if I actually think about myself, it's probably more than that.
Yeah.
So you're here at CES 2024, back at CES again. Obviously the app is a big story. What other stories are you taking into CES here? What are your messages?
So we're here with a really cool meeting concept. I mean, everyone comes to CES to see their friends, right? Their business friends. And we have a concept called Audio is Magic. And it is a complete audio experience in a dark room. We're doing it here at the Aria.
Okay.
And we have storytellers, 2 of our great storytellers, walking the audience through the power of audio. Everything from sonic identity, music, sound effects, voice, the authenticity that you need to bring into an audio spot. And so it's a 1-hour audio only presentation. Think like dark headphones. Wow. And we're just reintroducing the power of this format to marketers here to help them remember how important it is in this AI world, in this really noisy moment that we're all experiencing, to remember the power of this format and why it's so so effective at driving what they're after, which is, I was just listening to your last guest, it's like you just are trying to connect and it's so hard, and audio does it so well. So that's a fun experience we have here.
And what do people say when they come out of the darkness after an hour?
Well, first of all, I think they're just very excited to do something other than sit with a PowerPoint or
Sure.
sit with something that is very expected. So it's a very unexpected experience, and it's educational. I think that's why we come here, to be curious, to see what's next, and to kind of reset. So the attendees that are going through it, which we sold out, we had only so many meetings we could execute, and we sold out in 2 days for marketers wanting to go through this.
Well, people who are watching this video can close their eyes and listen to us and maybe have some of the similar experiences of our conversation. But I want to talk about that intimate audio in the terms of podcasting, something that you and I both know very well. What's the state of podcasting today, and kind of, again, how are you philosophically thinking about that as you head into the next year?
Yeah, and we talked about this last year, so I was trying to reflect on like what's different year over year.
Yeah.
Last year was all about just helping the creators understand how to make great shows. They obviously were reaching audiences, which is why we as a partner were investing in podcasting to begin with.
Yeah.
But this year it's transitioned to, they really understand that advertisers need to play more of a role than just the host read, which is sort of where the business was.
You're saying the creators now understand that.
The creators get it, and they're leaning into, well, I want to go on the road and I want to have advertisers be a part of that. I want to do content on TikTok and YouTube, and I want advertisers to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And then I also understand that I might need to format my show a little bit different for programmatic. And that's probably the big trend that's driving the big investment in this space year over year. Our programmatic revenue is up 97% year over year.
Congratulations.
And so the work, again, being done to organize the supply and get us connected to all the programmatic pipes for the revenue to really come into this space, I'd say that's the biggest change year over year.
And if we're going to talk about programmatic advertising, might as well talk about AI. I believe we touched on it last year. But now, of course, AI is just infusing CES at every level. It's infusing everyone's job and every conversation. So we might as well go there as well. What are you most excited about with AI today?
Two things. I'm most excited about going from a concept to an actual ad as fast as possible, and being able to get a spec spot to an advertiser to say, how do you like the sounds of this? Going back to audio is magic, like letting them hear the ad, letting them understand what a host read version might sound like, what an announcer read version might sound like, what an ad for SiriusXM on the satellite in a live scenario might sound like. And that like A to Z process is so much faster with AI, getting them excited so that we can drive then the next step, which is real production. And having the real voice of Conan voice your spot, right? Or an announcer that's someone that you're really excited about from a voice or gender standpoint that you know is going to resonate with your audience. So it's just like speed to go from excitement to an actual example of what we could do for them. AI is allowing us to move so much faster. And then the second piece of that, diversification of advertisers. We now can create effortless creative for a very small business that normally, maybe they wouldn't be able to go through or spend enough money to go through a standard production process. But we can leverage AI to make that go faster and allow them to be a part of this audio movement, which maybe they've only been working in the display space.
So everything that's happening within the SiriusXM media kind of ecosystem with AI, as you're describing it, is of course very legit. But when you talked about the real voice of Conan, I mean, that implies, and it's true, that you could have a fake AI voice of Conan or any other celebrity or any other person. Maybe even, you can answer from a business perspective or maybe even just a personal perspective, but how are you thinking about this world where we could have fake but very realistic voices? I mean, especially, it's probably easier to fake audio to the degree of persuading someone that it's real even than video, right? So how are you thinking about this world that we now live in?
Well, we're doing a lot of experiments. We have an experiment right now called Humans versus Machines, where we are building voice talent creative, synthetic plus voice, where we're sort of mixing, and then completely synthetic.
Okay.
And we are exposing those ads to our test subjects. And humans are actually really good at hearing authentic voices versus synthetic voices.
Yeah.
So are the synthetic voices getting, I've actually cloned myself, and it sounds a lot like me, but it doesn't sound, it's not me.
Okay.
You can tell it's not me. So if it's a celebrity, you're gonna know, and so we won't be putting fake Conan on the air. Now, if it's just a random voice and we can get a synthetic voice to sound like a human, and an advertiser's like, that's what I want, I just want something at scale that's a super efficient price, there might be a world where that can work, but I'd say at SiriusXM, we're so focused on authentic voices on our airwaves, streaming, in our podcast, that I don't think there's an immediate future where you'll see fake Conan.
Or if there was a synthetic podcast, maybe that would be for the novelty of it, just because it'd be interesting to people that it was synthetically done.
And actually there is going to be a show launching this month, will.i.am, I'm sure you know who he is, and he is very much a futurist and interested in technology, so he will have an AI counterpart helping him host his show.
Okay.
And that will be on SiriusXM. I haven't heard it yet. It was announced, so you can go take a look at it.
Okay.
He will be using his AI FYI app, which is something that he put out, I think it was last summer in Miami to great fanfare. And so there's an example of a creator that he will be playing with AI on his show. Yeah. And I think that's really amazing, but in juxtaposition to him, we just launched John Mayer and his new show, and he's using no AI. And he's very focused on like, no, this is the real me. This is me curating everything I do by hand on this show. And so that's where a good example of like the creator can pick.
Yeah.
And maybe there will be a creator that says, you know what, I want to play around with synthetic voice, and maybe there will be fake creator and real creator.
You could co-host it with yourself, and then people could try to figure out which was the real you.
You should do that.
All right.
That's very meta. You need to do that next year.
Here's our next project. So we'll talk about it next year, how it's gone. Any final thoughts as we head into this year of innovation, disruption, and really just insanity as far as all the AI that's going to happen?
Oh gosh, I think that it's not going to be too insane. I think that the bulk of this year is going to be all of us just trying to do our jobs smarter, leveraging technology to do it. I think finally there's opportunity to do so. I mean, every guest you're going to have on is going to talk about, we just want all of these tasks and tactical things that take forever to be less burden on our employees. And I think that's going to be the real trend this year.
Lizzie Widhelm, SiriusXM Media.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming back, and of course we'll have you back again. Really
yes,
appreciate it.
I need a 4P.
Exactly. Very rare, but very deserved. All right, well that is our interview with Lizzie Widhelm from SiriusXM Media here in the C Space Studio at CES 2024. I'm James Kotecki. We're sponsored this year by Integral Ad Science, and so many great conversations are just ahead, so don't go anywhere.